Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Witching Hour. I am Patti Negri, psychic medium and good witch, and your host for this hour journey into the other world. I have such an amazing guest for you today. I have author, Wiccan priestess, tantric goddess, and pagan Brandy Williams and her new book, Chord Magic. I have learned so much from this book and talking to Brandy. It's stuff I just didn't know. And I'm the queen of witches ladders. This is different. So you're going to love the show and you are going to love Brandy. But before we do that, let me give you my little update on the week. So if you are listening to it when this first drops, the week of August 2nd, 2021, yes, the year is flying by. But if you are listening to this first week, I do have a new TFIL out. I didn't know they were going to drop it so fast. Last week, I did announce that the Queen Mary came out, and the Queen Mary did come out. Me and the boys and all alone on a ship that holds 10,000 people. And that is out on the TFIL YouTube page, their new overnight page. Also, they just dropped my Biltmore, the presidential suite at the Biltmore. So don't mistake it. A couple months ago, we did the music suite, and that was called Witches Seance. But this one, we are in the literally $10,000 a night, 4,000 square foot presidential suite where presidents stay. I mean, every president you could think of has stayed there, including lots of ghosts. And this one, I'm starting to teach the boys a little magic. They're all pretty gifted. And Corey Shearer is literally an intuitive medium of his own right. So if you watch this one, you're actually going to learn some of my techniques of magic. And speaking of that, that's going to be a little bit of our magic for today as well. So watch TFIL. Also, for those of you who are Gaia subscribers, Gaia.com, I have a brand new episode with George Norrie out, his Beyond Belief television show. You might know him from Coast to Coast, his syndicated radio show, Late at Night, and I've done that. But this is his TV show called Beyond Belief. So if those of you who don't know Gaia, check it out. Anything and everything you'd ever want to know about everything otherworldly, spiritual, magical, and of course, George's show. So I'm talking all about magic in that one as well. Also this week, on Discovery Plus, my latest ghost adventure is dropping a brand new one. I mean, I hope I'm there. You never know for sure. But this is great because Bridget is there, also one of our artists on My Paranormal. Bridget, and we are at Holly's house, and we are doing a seance, and we're looking at some stuff that kind of all goes on at Holly's house. So that's great. That drops this Thursday on Discovery Plus, Travel Channel's Discovery Plus. As far as my classes, my $10 class this week on Thursdays for House of Intuition, Dragon Magic. My favorite subject, Dragon Magic. So bring a dragon if you want or not. Get any kind of little plastic dragon, but I'm going to teach you how to have the very best assistant magical partner you've ever dreamed of. So Dragon Magic, $10 through House of Intuition. I post it on all my social media. And my Sunday class is just the last one of my mediumship series. So can't go to that one unless you've been in it. I do have one of my somewhat rare Saturday with Victor Wind classes. He's in the UK. He has this apparently amazing museum of oddities and haunted items. And he also has something called the Last Tuesday Society. I do seances for him. I do classes for him. And this Saturday, we are doing a divination class. So I'm going to talk about and teach all sorts of divination, from working with tarot cards to dowsing rods to pendulums to even Ouija boards to everything else, and to mediumship. So let's look at divination on Saturday. If you can't find it, it's on all my social media. But if you can't, message me, email me. Last Tuesday Society in the UK. But it's at noon on Saturday, so it's at 8 if you're in the UK. Time zones are my hardest magic, believe me. I am one proud mama. Yes, it is time for the Willow update. Look at this girl. She's had her first puppy class. Yes, she has a fabulous positive training teacher named Jack. Her first lessons are focus, which I guess is apparently really good to have in a dog, learning to focus, because we're not very focused right now. We have a little sound, and there, see, she looks up and she gets you. We kind of learned a focus, we learned to sit, and we learned to stand, and we learned to round around to sit on the other side. There's one other cute little dog about her age, a little Shih Tzu in her class, and Willow, and She's the funky one in class, and she did really, really good. I must say, my husband and I have to learn more than she does, because when the teacher would show her things, she was perfect. And when we would show her things, that we would like, what is this hand movement? What is this movement? She could tell that we didn't know what we were talking about. That just adds to my idea about magic and energy is everything. So mom and dad need as much practice as little Willow, but she has begun school and she is an A+ student, and I'm really, really proud of her. Yeah. Willow update. Ha. Today's magic lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about connecting with the dead. Just a wee bit, a little bit of mediumship. We know it's out there. And yes, we have my dream school technique, which I have taught a class, which is such an easy, powerful way. You put the glass of water by the side of your bed. Don't drink it because it collects everything, but put the water by your bed and channel. I want to talk to my deceased grandma. I want to talk to my spirit guides. What is the meaning of life? What outfit should I wear tomorrow? So that's a really good way to do it, because what you're doing is you're telling the universe to conduit you right to spirit without your logical left brain shutting you down and getting in the way. But another way to do it during the daytime, if you really want to contact. I want to contact with grandma or my best cousin who died, whatever. And you don't consider yourself a medium, and you don't even have to use any specific divination methods. How it is allowing yourself to go into a sweet and sacred space. So set your sacred space. And I believe for protection, actually set what it is. If you work with angels, call in your angels. If you work with dragons, call in your dragons. If you work with Jesus, call in the Christ light. Call in your belief system and setting. I am creating a sacred space. It's like your own little sanctuary. And then, because this is our realm of existence, say who you're allowing in. Whether you do an official lifting of the veil, whether I call in the elements, the fire, the water, the earth, and the air, or again, you might just call in however it works for you. Picture the veil opening, but be very, very, very specific of who and what you let in. Whether it's very specific, it's only grandma, or it's only this, or spirits that are good, spirits that are light, spirits that are my best intention, only spirits attached to me in a good way. Because guess what? That's what you will get, because this is our realm of existence. So again, say you want to do something. I would start with a candle. A candle is a great way to learn divination. Plain old, a little taper candle, not a birthday candle. That would work because it's so short though. Let your eyes kind of go over to a glazed area. Again, you could close them if you want, but glazed area kind of works. Do a little bit of breathing exercise. Do a little bit of, you want to get into a relaxed meditative state, almost a form of self-hypnosis, that you are just relaxing. If you work with chants or anything like that, you can pull in one of your chants. Otherwise, just do a little bit of breathing, breathing. And then if you have a picture of grandma or whoever it is, bring that picture out. If you have something of hers, the jewelry that she wore, that's called psychometry. Everything holds on to energy, almost like a smell, but it's not a spell. That's why when you walk into, sensitive people, when you walk into a thrift store, antique store, you're like, wow, all the stuff in there. It's like a plethora of everything. But maybe you have something that grandma had given to you or that left, or just a picture. Or if you don't, that is okay too. But sit and think about her. Respectfully and lovingly invite her in. Don't demand her in. Just request that she comes to visit, that you would like a message. Have a candle going, because that's a way that she could show you who it is. Think about her. Now remember, you could talk to her in lots of different ways. There's clairvoyance, there's clairsentience, there's claircognizance, there's all these. You might see her literally with your outside eyes. You might see her just inside your head. You might just smell her perfume. It might just be a sense of knowing, wow, I know she's in this room. You might hear it. All of those are completely legitimate. You might even taste something. Oh, that is grandma's favorite apple pie. All these are legitimate within, whether you're seeing on the inside or the outside, but just allow that to come in. And that's your right brain. That's your intuitive side. Drop it down to your heart. Whenever that little logical left brain pops up, but that can't make sense. Oh, that can't be her. Somebody opened the window. Just shut it down. Shush it. Gently shush it. Don't judge it. Shush, shush, shush. And then when you start feeling, just ask her, Grandma, are you here? Do you want to talk? Again, listen for the answer. You just might know she's saying yes, whether you hear it or not. She does. And then ask her to do something like make the candle dance. And guess what? She will. Make the candle dance. Make the flame larger. Make the flame smaller. Make it go. You can also do this with incense if you want. Maybe for some reason you don't want a candle burning, or maybe you want to do both. Incense you could actually use for scrying as well as divination. Same with the candle. With incense, all right, allow the shapes in the incense to tell you a story. Let your mind go. It's putting you into that state. Okay, Grandma, make the incense below left. And somebody didn't turn on a fan. Grandma, make the incense go straight up. Make it wafted around into a spiral. You'll be surprised. Working with fire, working with air, working with the incense are something that spirit world, it's not so hard for them to do. Grandma, move the pencil from this side to that side. Takes a lot of energy, both on them, and then they're going to be using your energy. So give her your permission. So start with really easy things like dancing candles and moving the incense. Another great way to connect is just, having a little bowl of water and just seeing that maybe the candle glowed off the water, just like in divination, just like in scrying. Scrying is a form that you can connect into spirit. So don't think you have to be some fancy medium to connect in. Spirits are everywhere. It's just gently coming through the veil. And see what she wants to say. Stay with her a little while, or them. Again, inviting Grandma and Grandpa and your puppy. Yeah, they hang out too. Some of the first people that come to my seances are deceased pets. It's amazing. Who has the three-legged German Shepherd with the purple collar? I do. And because they love you and they always will, and nothing dies. Science has proven that. So test some of your skills for going through the other side. After it's done, thank them because they have that option to come in. And then consciously close the veil between the worlds. Just picture a net coming down if you want. Picture a wall coming down if you want. Picture anything that you want, and then end it. And then get really mundane. Then eat something salty, and then touch something iron. You want to really ground yourself after any kind of magical work, even deep spell work, even getting into seances or ritual. It's good to eat something sweet beforehand. It's an old Victorian seance thing, actually. They would serve tea or wine or cookies, and they say it was for the magic. I think it's actually blood sugar. It makes all your senses stronger. So whatever it is, have a little something sweet beforehand, and afterwards have at least a bite of something salty to ground, and then get really mundane. Just like a seance, when you guys get deeper into this, you don't want to sit there and go, stay there. Go watch silly TV, tell bad jokes, hang with your friends. The bigger the separation between the worlds, this world and that world, the stronger both worlds get. So again, get yourself a candle, maybe a stick of incense. Go talk to Grandma. You'll be surprised. She's probably going to talk back. Magic is everywhere. You just got to look sometime. So let me introduce you to the beautiful and amazing Brandy Williams, the author of Chord Magic, tapping into the power of string, yarn, twists, and knots. Welcome, Brandy.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Patti. I'm so excited.
I am so excited. I'm so excited. One of my favorite types of spell working and magic is chord magic. So for my people, I have beautiful, beautiful listeners. A lot of them are very beginning on their path. I have a lot of old experts along the way, but kind of explain to people, what is chord magic?
Chord magic is anything you do with string. You can use a single string, and you can make it into multiples. You can double or triple it. You can make knots in it and use knots. And a lot of people think not when you hear chord magic, but the book talks about ways to use chords in and of themselves, to use the number and the color and the intent to make magic with chords.
That is beautiful. Again, going through your book, I've never seen something so in detail. The numbers and the colors. You get into if seasons, working with the seasons, working with the elements, working with planetary things. So that's pretty amazing. So, okay, so somebody's got some string. Somebody's got some twine. What does that mean? What are they going to do? Okay, how is that magic? How is that?
So, I can show you actually one if you'd like to, and I can talk
love that. I would love that.
So today I've been making elemental chords. I'm making chords in the colors that are elemental for me. And I want to stop and say that it's important to me that people know that you can have your own meanings for everything, for number, for color. And the book sets up charts for you to fill in your own meanings. I give meanings, sample meanings, so you can see what it looks like to have a meaning, and then you can put your own in. So today I've made a green chord for earth. And I can make one now that's a yellow chord for air. What I'm going to do is take some yellow yarn and I'm going to measure it. I use myself as a measure. I'm measuring from my hand to my shoulder, and that's a particular measurement, and it's always with me. I can I have my body with me, so I can always use that as a measure. I'm going to cut one string, and then I'm going to make 4 identical ones because I'm using the number 4 for 4 elements. And I think I said I'm using yellow for air, but I'll say it again if I didn't. And then when I've got 4 of these cut, I hope I have enough. And this is a great thing to use up little ends of yarn. If you're a craft person, you have lots of yarn. I keep a whole basket of my little ends so I can do these kinds of things. So I'm going to make a knot in these 4 chords, these 4 strings, I should say. Then I'm going to take an S carabiner. You can use any kind of carabiner, but just something that lets me hook the cord through it. And then I'm going to bring my lamp on camera so you can see that I'm going to hook it onto something. I'm going to hook one end of the S hook onto something that will hold still so I can then twist it. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it. And the direction of the turn matters to me. I turn outward for sending stuff outward. I turn inward for bringing things into me. In this case, I'm working for protection, and I feel that that's a little more active, so I just do that as an outward move. I've made a very small chord here, and you'll see that as you turn them, it starts to twist together. These strings start to twist together. There's a limit to the amount of twist you can have, and it'll start kinking when you get there. I'm not going to go that far. This is really cool to me because it's a very ancient rope making technique, and people around the world still use this to make rope. So now I'm going to tie a knot on the end that I've been holding so that it doesn't unravel. I take the cord in the middle and I bring the 2 knotted ends of the cord together, and then I let it go, and it immediately twists into a chord. And that's all that it takes. That's my favorite part. It's the magic part.
That's magic. I didn't know that.
Right. Now, I spent a lot of time in the book. It's the hardest part was writing that. And it's so easy to show people. Now I'm going to make a knot on the end, the knotted end, just to make sure it doesn't unknot. And anytime you have 2 knots, you can cut between them. So it's safe. So you could do that. You can make 2 knots and cut it and make 2 chords. You know, if you're making a chord with someone else, you can both have a chord. And now I have my my air chord along with my earth chord. That's how easy it is to do.
That is, I honestly have never done that. I've never done the and that I love things that just happen by themselves, sort of.
Yeah, I love that. When you make a really long one, it's really fun to watch it go and it's done. It is magic.
Wow. So that is great. So what are some of the kind of things I know in your book you talk about, like protection or transitions or things? What are some of the kind of things that people would use chord magic for?
You can use chord magic for any kind of purpose that you use magic for. And there are specific purposes that people always reach for. There's healing, protection, love, and prosperity. Those are like the really big 4 things that people work magic for. Right now, because I'm older and my husband is disabled, I do a lot of health magic. So that's what I'm making my cords for. I'm making a cord for him to put on his wheelchair, for example, to protect him and to give him strength and serenity. I've done that a lot actually with people, and they find it very comforting to have something tangible that shows them that they're protected and that they're loved.
So that's beautiful. So you will give them the cord. Now keep this on your wheelchair, on your whatever, on your thing going into it.
That's right. I tie it on. It's the great
literally.
thing about cords. I made a really small one so you could see it on camera, but you can make long ones, and they make good things to tie around. I use cords. I put them on my luggage handles so I can see the luggage as it's coming off the airplane on the luggage rack. I put it on the luggage handle. It makes a nice thing to tie, and then it protects the luggage also.
I was just thinking if you could do protection from TSA on a luggage thing, there's because I have this thing that they like to search my luggage every time, and they like to beat everything up every time. Maybe I have some weird stuff in there that looks dangerous, but it isn't. But I don't get back without disasters every time. So you just got my first Chord Magic
Yeah,
travel protection. Yes. So when you're doing a Chord Magic, do you do it like within a ritual, within a magical setting, within a spell working setting? Do you like, how do you do it? Do you just like grab your stuff and start doing it? Because I know it's about intent. Any magic is about intent.
Yes, you can certainly. My coven does Chord Magic in circle, and you can set it up as part of a spell working. You can use candles to harmonize the purpose. You can light incense, so you can make it a very formal thing. But something that I really love about Chord Magic is that it's so simple. I just made a chord. I love just grabbing it and doing it. Going out to the park with my friends and bringing a bunch of yarn and saying, let's make some chords. So I tend to be like get it done, quick and easy kind of person.
That's great. Without all the pomp and circumstance. Just the magic is in the chord and in the color and in the intent.
The pomp and circumstance, I promise you.
That is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing that, because I know I saw it peeked at, one of my favorite Chord Magic, and actually kind of the only kind I ever do, is a witch's ladder. Can you tell people what a witch's ladder is and show them yours, which are much prettier than mine?
Oh, I'm sure yours are lovely. People often associate the 9-knot spell with the witch's ladder, so you can make a chord and make 9 knots in it, and that's very frequently talked about on the net. The witch's ladder itself was found in an attic in England, and it looked like this. So I have a red, white, and blue cord that has chicken feathers put in it. And we made my coven went out to the park last summer, and we all made them because I was I got a pack of chicken feathers. So this is what one way to do a witch's ladder. And what I do to send the intent is I will speak the intent, whatever it is. I wish for all the people who are watching this to have whatever you wish. That is your safe and happy wish. And then I should qualify that. And then since I've made a wish, I'm going to walk my fingers up the ladder and send it off. And that's how I personally do this. And this is a really cool thing to get very witchy with and get, speak and really, I will send this out, and do it at night, do it in the woods, so this is a very witchy thing to do. And actually, the chicken feathers, I want to mention, the reason that I'm using chicken feathers is that I discovered as I was writing this book that it's not legal to own song feathers in the in the United States. So I have, I find crow feathers and blue jay feathers, and I'm like, I would love to use those, but I can't. These are the only legal ones. And the reason was that we hunted songbirds almost to extinction. So, they just made feathers illegal. And I totally support that. I appreciate that. But it's not that we can't afford better feathers.
Well, and who's to say a chicken isn't absolutely perfect? I didn't know that. I mean, I know you can't use raptor feathers. You can't use hawks and eagles or anything like that because those are endangered. Unless you're a card-carrying Native American Indian, then you can. But I didn't know that about songbirds. Wow. I don't know if that's true or not. So everybody, if you're going to use feathers, check your local laws wherever you are, because things that surprise you.
Yeah.
Because I know the fine for raptor feathers is insanely high. Yes. Like billions of dollars, not billions, but I exaggerate a little, but a lot. Okay, so if somebody say they're, I know another thing that you do mention is like hand fasting chords and so, or do you talk about like if you're in a specific coven, do you make your chords, or somebody's getting married, they're doing a hand fasting?
Every marriage that I have officiated has had a hand fasting chord. I have to say that every every wedding that I have officiated, the people being married insisted on making their own cords. So I've never gotten to make one. But there are lots of instructions online that are very elaborate and do more like macrame than twisting cords like this. But you can certainly use this technique to make a hand fasting cord. And I always take materials with me just in case they haven't made one. But it's a really fun thing. You want to make, for the hand fasting cord, you want to make it long enough that it can wrap around their hands. Yeah. And that's a surprising lot. It's surprisingly big. And my tip to officiants is that if your people you are marrying are bringing their own cord, practice with it before you get in front of the family, because it can be a little bit awkward to do that twist, actually.
Yeah. No. And when we did our hand fasting, our priest who officiated us we had to make our own. And I was scared at that point, 20 whatever years ago. I had never made one. I was like, oh, I have to make but it was fun. And now I have it. It's one of those things hanging on there. And we did practice it. And now when I officiate hand fasting, you have to practice, because otherwise it's like, whoop, there's certain ways to tie and certain ways to wrap. And you could fail miserably if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
I do like in your book how you say, well, here's the standard colors or whatever the accepted colors, but go with your colors, because I'm like that in my magic too, is your truth is more the real truth. Yes. So what are some of the things, what are some things you would put into, again, let's go with the basic, a protection card. Everybody, it's crazy days, crazy times. We live in crazy times. What's something you would put into a protection card, and what would you do with it?
For me, the protection colors tend to be warm colors, red. You could use earth as a grounding or foundation color, but I tend to gravitate to Mars as a protective sort of force. So I use the warm colors for protection. I use carnelian in my jewelry for protection, and you could put a bead into your cord. Let me see if I've got my yeah, here it is. You can put beads into your cords, so you can twist beads as you are twisting the cord. Put them on one of the strands, and then they twist into the cord, or after it's done you can add beads as well. And I do that a lot for my protection. The cords that I'm making today, the elemental cords, are meant to be protective. I'm making a set of the elemental cords to put on the four corners of my house or the four corners of my bedroom. So that's another way to do it. You use them to cast a protective field. But for protection, this is actually a really good example. I would use these warm colors and then use beads. And then I can put it, I can hang it. I can tie it around my lamp. I can hang it around myself. I can put it in my pocket. And when I'm going into a circumstance where I'm a little bit nervous or I really want a little extra protection, I'll hold it or put it in my pocket. So, and the stones, then I really like having the stones because they're grounding and comforting.
That is beautiful. So I like that, how you do the elements and you put it into each corner. So you just find the corner of your house or your room, and here's my earth cord, and here's my, you do it. Do you do it by the directions, or yeah?
I do it by the directions, and it does make my bedroom a little busy. It's true.
I'm learning so much, though. I want to go put little cords in each of my rooms. I've never done that either, or kept them separate like that to create a,
on doorways. We use cords, red cords for protection, and put rowan beads, which are a protective, not beads. They're the little things, nuts. I've lost the noun, Patti. I'm old. What is it?
Peas and nuts.
Growing seeds. Yeah. We put those. We string those on red cord and put them on above the doorways for protection. So doorways and windows are places that energy comes in and out, and I like to make sure that only positive energy is coming at me.
That is beautiful. So, and the protection there. So again, you sound like you've been doing this a while, and this kind of magic. How did you find your magical path?
I have to say, I heard you say, Brandy's been doing magic for 25 years. I said, oh, that's an outdated biography. I tend to soft pedal it, but it's more like 40 years.
Wow. That's funny, because you're only 39, right?
I know, right? That's what it is. I started when I was 16. I was raised Catholic, and I knew that I wanted to find another path. And when I found witchcraft, I really felt like I had come home. I actually have right next to me, I've been writing about these very early days. I found the very early books on witchcraft, the Complete Art of Witchcraft, Sybil Leek's books, Lady Sheba's books, Witch, and the Book of Shadows. Those were published in the 70s, and they were really the first time that we could pick up a book and actually learn from it, as opposed to having to find someone. And before the internet, it was way harder to find people.
Yes, way harder.
Yeah.
Way harder.
So when I found witchcraft, I felt like I had come home. I heard once a witch, always a witch, and I said, oh yeah, that's true. I've always been a witch, and that's what I am, and I still am. I do lots of different kinds of magics, and sometimes people are surprised and say, are you still a witch? I'm like, of course I am. I want to stop. You're not stop being a witch. You're a witch.
You're a witch. You're a witch. It's in the blood. I think it's in the blood. I think, drawn there, whether you put a name on it or not. That's how I felt when I was a kid, and my connection to nature, my connection to plants, and knowing what to do with them and to communicate. So
yes,
can't help it. Can't help it. So what do you think people are most surprised about? Again, I've never seen such a detailed, beautiful way to look at chord magic. Do people have a big misunderstanding about it? Like thinking it's going to be too hard, or too this, or too this, or?
People are a little awkward when they first approach it. I'm doing a lot of teaching again, which is great fun. This book is getting me back into showing people how to do it. And if you don't work with fiber, it can be a little bit surprising how fiber works. I mean, I will give people choices of yarn. Like this one is a variegated yarn, and they're like, okay, I want the green part. Yeah, but you're going to have to also use the blue part. So I think that one of the things that happens is that if you haven't used fiber, it gets you into using fiber. And I want to encourage people, because it's so easy and it's so much fun. And there's so many yarn shops in the world. You walk into a yarn shop and it's a rainbow of colors and textures. You can have so much fun just collecting your materials. And they're not incredibly expensive either. That's one of the great things about this magic. Some magics, I do formal ceremonial magic where you have to have tools, and they have to be the right tools, and you inscribe them and all of those kinds of things. And it can get a little expensive. This is a really, really inexpensive way to get into making magic. So I think that's one of the things that surprises people, is just the qualities of fiber. But again, it's something really to explore. It's the fun part of chord magic.
I know. I can't wait. I'm gonna go dig through my thing and find something to see if it twists all by itself. For anybody who didn't see that, you have to try it or get the book. And it twisted by itself. That's magic.
Or get you can hit Brandy Williams author, and I have a little video that shows people how to do it too, because I knew that was going to be the part that people needed to see. I'm going to make one of those. Yeah.
That is good. So speaking of that, how do people going, okay, yes, buy her book, but how do people find you? How do people find you?
I'm Brandy Williams author everywhere on the net. So brandywilliamsauthor.com. I have a Facebook page, Brandy Williams Author. My Instagram account is Brandy Williams Author. I don't Twitter much, but I'm on Twitter under that handle as well. So people can find me there. I blog on Brandy Williams Author. I also have a Pathos blog called Star and Snake. So you can find a little bit of my writing there. But mostly I'm working on my own website.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm going to go see a twist, everybody. So do you have something next for you? Do you know, are you going to make another magical book or something? It just feels like there's something in your head going on.
Oh, there's always something in my head. I have a lot of books. I have a book called Practical Magic for Beginners, and that book pairs actually quite well with this one. It's been in print for 15 years, and it's been translated into a number of languages. And I'm really proud of that book, because I wanted to make the techniques of magic available to people easily without having to go into a specific path or apprenticeship. You can pick it up and be a witch or a magician or a druid or a pagan. You can be a ceremonial magician and learn the basics of making magic. So I really like that book. And I think of chord magic as practical magic with string.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have other books too, and one of them is out of print. The Woman Magician I'm really proud of that book, and I wrote it 10 years ago. So I'm going to issue a 10th anniversary edition this year. So after I finish doing the chord magic sort of stuff that I'm doing to let people know it's out there, my next project is going to be to reissue that book.
That sounds perfect. The Woman Magician. We need more of the feminine. Come on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what do you think? I mean, this whole world, I mean, coming out of crazy times, obviously, this worldwide pandemic and still going on. How do you think this? I think this is actually people are kind of waking up and looking for new paths. There seems to be, because we all know in times of trouble, people kind of go to some form of spirituality or looking outside themselves. And a lot of traditional religions maybe aren't keeping up with what people want. So what do you think of this whole thing? And again, all these new baby witches and baby magicians coming up.
I really love seeing how many people are reaching for this and reaching for magic and reaching for witchcraft. When I was first when I was a young witch, we were thinking, oh gosh, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could have been raised in the craft and people could be second or third generation witches. And now I've lived long enough that I've met people who were raised in the craft, and it's so exciting. I'm so happy. And I feel a little. I feel a little like reach or pull for people who are coming into the craft, because I know you're really reaching for information. And I have this impulse to connect people with information that will help them. I know there are a lot of new witches who they're not aware that there's community, right? So I encourage people to reach out and look around and find the communities on the net. You can find a community that will fit your needs, any need at all. And it's wonderful to do magic with other people. There are a lot of people who are working on their own or trying to figure stuff out. And I think it's really wonderful if you can connect with somebody who can help you.
Me too. Plus, again, that camaraderie there, working, yes, solo. I'm solo practitioner, whatever. I do my Sabbath, but working together with people, we're tribe people, humans. We need people. So and now again with the internet, like you say, even if you live in the middle of nowhere and you don't have any magical stores near you, don't have anything, there's not an excuse in the world anymore. As long as you have a smartphone or a computer, the whole world is at our fingertips.
Oh, it's true. You talked about the pandemic, and I think I felt, and a lot of people around me felt at the very beginning of the pandemic, this real urge to do something helpful for people. Mm-hmm. I made a ritual. I made a little invocation to Hygeia, and I kept it on my webpage front and center for a year, invoking peace and invoking healing for people. And I did the ritual every single night until the vaccines. It was like a year. The vaccines started rolling out, and then we started easing up again. So I moved my magic elsewhere, but I still keep it in front of me. And one of the things that I wrote actually going into Chord Magic is how to connect with people through chord. I said connecting with community. Connecting with a chord is a great way to reestablish connections. A lot of us were separated, right? I mean, mm-hmm. I didn't see physical people except for my quarantine pod for a year. Yeah. So like I said, one of the first things we did was we went out to the park and we made witches ladders. And if you do it with two people, you can each hold an end and you twist it. So it's a binding. It helps you reconnect with your friends.
That's beautiful. And yes, I do think I love that you did that every day and you created that. So did you have specific chord magic for the pandemic, for healing? Did you make specific stuff for that as well?
I should have.
No, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You did. You had this whole thing that you did.
I should have done that.
And what color would we make that? I don't know.
Well, yeah, healing. I tend to think of healing as green, but that may be, that differs for people. So
yeah, no, I go with green for healing too, but I always say the same thing as you do. What is it to you? That's the right one. What is the right one? So, so what is your best hint or tip for somebody going, okay, I've never done this before. I'm going to go to the craft store. I'm going to go find some cord. I'm going to go find some string.
Yeah. I would work with a yarn that you like. I mean, that's the most important thing. You're not going to be washing this yarn, so you can afford to get a little bit of a spendy yarn. You can use wool. If you knit things with wool, I'm a knitter. If you knit things with wool and you throw them in the washing machine, they will felt. So you can't really make something that your dog is going to sleep on. But with the cord, you're using so little of it, and you're not going to wash it, so you can use any material you like. So using a natural material like wool or cotton or linen, that they have magical properties and they're really fun to work with. But I personally love working with synthetics. This is a synthetic yarn I'm holding in my hands right now, and it's different colors. That's something that I love too, is to have variegated yarns. And I think that one of the things about fiber is that there are a lot of ethical considerations about fiber. The better sourced your fiber is, the better it will be for your magic. So I have a lot of yarn that has a little tag with the sheep that gave it and the name of the sheep. And that's the yarn that I really like to use in my magic. Using commercial wool, there's a lot of exploitation of animals in the in the fiber field. So I recommend to people to try to source your yarn. Synthetics, actually, they come from cellulose. They come from wood byproducts, and so it's a way to recycle some byproducts, and it's less intrusive than some of the animal fibers.
Oh, that's good to know. That is good. You used a word I don't know. Spindy.
Oh, spendy.
Spendy. Oh, spendy. Expensive. Okay, because I'm like spindy. Must be because it twists.
Really expensive. Oh my gosh, I've spent $100 on a skein of yarn that I wanted really bad. But yeah, you don't have to spend that kind of. And the great thing is you can get, if you go to a yarn shop, you can get small amounts. You can get sample yarns, and so they're not so expensive.
Okay, that is good. Do you, I mean, I know you said you make the long ones for hand fasting and you make to hang around the room. Is there a standard size that you recommend that's general, 6 inches, 4 inches, 10 inches for?
I do, actually. I recommend using, again, the measurement, forearm. So you're holding the yarn in your hand and then pulling the yarn along your arm up to your shoulder. That's a length. Do that 3 times, and that's the one string that you're going to use as the first one. So you do it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now I would cut this, and then I would make another. I would measure that out again with the yarn, so I have another one, and cut that, and at least 3. So that length will get you a reasonably sized cord at the end of it. You lose about 2/3 of the cord in the twist. Okay. So that's why you want 3. And the book goes into some detail about why that is, but essentially you lose some stuff in the twist. And so that makes a really nice a nice length cord. When you're working with longer cords, I've made very, very long cords, but the 9-foot cords for the witch's cord for measuring out the circle, and it takes a coven and a little bit of coordination, running at the length of the house, the longest hallway you've got, 5 people twisting and making sure you're all going in the same direction. Yeah, so you can make a really, really long cord.
I'm sure it gets better with practice, right? Because isn't it first, I'm picturing mine going, it's twistier in one area and not twistier in another area. So that's just.
When you let it go, it will twist itself, and then you can smooth it, and it gets pretty even. It's the twist itself. The yarn itself, the property of the yarn itself, whatever the material, it will automatically make the twist. So it looks pretty good. No matter what you do. That looks
perfect. For those of you who can't see it, it looks perfect. It's this perfect little twisty yellow, beautiful thing. So what do you do with planetary? Why would you make it planetary? 'Cause, again, bringing in Mars or bringing in.
Yeah, each of the planets has a character. And one of the things I love about Chord Magic that it lets me work with the planets in a way that's really physical. We work a lot with the elements, with the element of water. I can have a bowl of water. For earth, I can have a stone and hold the stone in my hand. For air, I can use incense. For fire, I can light a candle. But how am I going to work with the planets? They're a little bit less tangible. I have the planetary sigils, and I'm wearing a pendant that is 7-pointed for the 7 planets. But how do I make that tangible? So Chord Magic lets us make that tangible. There are traditional associations of color for each of the planets and traditional associations of number. Those go back to the Hermetic traditions. They go back for thousands and thousands of years. So you can use those to make the chord. So for Mars is the number 5 and red, so I could take 5 red chords and use that to make a martial chord that would then protect me or help me be strong if I was going out and doing some social justice work. I do actually wear Mars chords when I go out and stand on the street corner with the sign, right?
That is
And
good.
another thing that you can do with it too is the planets are associated with the days of the week. So there's a list of what days Mars is associated with Tuesday. So you could make the chord on a Tuesday. If you get really fancy, you could do it in the hour of Mars. But I normally just go, I kind of, I do so much of this. I just go, yeah, Tuesday, Mars, let's roll.
Okay. So one other thing that is, I'm just loving this. So love, since so many people want love or looking for love, what are some of the things you would do for a love chord, or colors or ideas or thoughts?
I love red. I'm seeing it. It's funny too because I'm wearing blue and I'm wearing a blue necklace. You know, that's my Chord Magic teaching necklace. And I've been talking about green and yellow, but I use a lot of red in my chords. That's just what I do. And I associate red with love, but also pink. Pink is a lovely color. Pink can be the color of happiness. Light blue for serenity and for communication. So those are some of the colors that I would use in a chord. I'm very careful about love magic. I talk about sending love out or bringing love in. I don't target it to a specific person, like, you know, Jeff's gonna love me. You know, that's I steer away from that. But there's so many ways that we can think about love. There's love for your partner. There's love for your children. There's love for your community. There's love for your cats or your pets. So yeah. One thing that I do actually is make little chords for my cats and put it with my Bast statue as a way to protect them.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. You can't wear. See. Okay, more chords for your cats. So this is one of your chords. You have a beautiful necklace on right now. So that is one of your Chord Magic chords. You're hanging it on, right? So you can wear it as jewelry. I love that.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I have a example of a way to wear chords as jewelry. Look, it's red. There must be a theme. This is a pendant that's an Isis knot that a friend of mine made for me, and I made a red and yellow and orange chord for the sun. And I got an extra one. I put a jewelry finding on the end of the chord and put a barrel clasp on the end of the chord, and it's a magnetic barrel clasp, so it just goes like that. So then I can wear it, and so you can use this as jewelry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I turned that off. I don't know why it went.
Haunted. My answer for everything. Yeah. Haunted.
So you can put a jewelry finding on the end of your chord, and use the cord like you would use a chain to hang a pendant from. So that you can get very fancy with your Chord Magic if you want to do.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to get more into your book. So I highly recommend it to everyone. Brandy Williams, Chord Magic, tapping into the power of string, yarn, twists, and knots. So yes, we hold the book. So one more time, tell everybody where they can find you, Brandy, your website, all those normal things we have to do in this day and age.
Yes, indeed. You can find me at brandywilliamsauthor.com, and you can sign up for a newsletter where I will just send out the occasional update saying, "Look, I wrote a new book," or "Oh, here's the link to the interview with Patti."
Yay!
So that's all I do with it. And so brandywilliamsauthor.com website, and brandywilliamsauthor.com on Facebook and on Instagram, and I think that's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We will look for the next one, and I can't wait to get into this one. Thank you so much for bringing your magic, your Chord Magic, to the Witching Hour.